question is that some critics of the Quran have claimed that Allah swears in the Quran. Is that true? Quoting the verse, عُتُلٍ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ زَنِيمٌ. Zanim referring to an illegitimate child. I suppose, cover your ears people, the term bastard is what people are... you know, that word carries a certain oomph with it, doesn't it? Right, so this is the term that people are referring to, that is this. Now, the word zanim doesn't, although it does refer to an illegitimate child, in that sense, as in the person being addressed in the surah who's being so boastful, his own lineage was in dispute in his time. And so this was, but it doesn't, so one could say, look, the term illegitimate child and the term, using the term bastard, I'll say it again, just because of the buzzing. Do not be cropping that, people. Right, so it doesn't, although they carry the same kind of meaning, but they don't, in terms of, on the scale of vulgarity, they're not equal in that sense. One does have, they could equally be offensive, that is true, but they're not the same. One is a term that is used as a swear often, and the other is not necessarily used as a swear. So this term zanim is not really a swear that the Arabs would swear by. Like, that wasn't their kind of, so they might have said something like, you know, so for example, you're the Ibn Zaniya, for example, you're son of a fornicating woman and stuff like that. And these kind of swears you do get from that time. You read it in the different texts that people, when they were swearing, they were kind of swearing like this. But they weren't using words generally like zanim as a swear. It wasn't really, although it does have the meaning of, it's like saying, when people get into an argument or they start swearing, they don't say, you illegitimate child. You know, that's not really although that could be insulting, but that's not how people swear. They don't use that. They'll just use actual swear words. So in a similar sense, I know that Khadim Hussain Rizvi Sahib Damat Barakatuhum Al-Aliya, right, from Pakistan, who's called for the head of Asya Bibi. Right, so I think and in his famous words, so he swears online, those of you, everybody knows this, I mean, you know, in his famous words, Dalle Surah is right, so so he has these famous swears. Now, when asked, why do you swear? He said, I swear, well, so what? God swears in the Quran. I think that's a stupid and dumb argument, although I don't believe necessarily swearing per se. One is swearing at somebody. Swearing per se, I don't believe is haram. Like people just using the F word in language. Like people say, you know, like they'll swear like something happened, or damn, or something. That in and of itself is not haram, in my understanding. Okay, harming somebody by cussing them or doing something, causing harm to people is haram. That's a different topic. So I would agree in part with Khadim Hussain in saying that swearing is not haram per se. Although in this context he is actually swearing to, I believe, who is he swearing to? Sheikh Tahir al-Qadri, isn't he, or somebody. So that would be wrong and unacceptable, but I feel generally I would agree with him. But as to using the Quran as a dalil, is utterly wrong.
What's your fatwa name of itself? Somebody who attributes vulgarity to God.
Somebody who attributes vulgarity to God. Astaghfirullah. I need to make that meme. I mean, these kind of things are, look, utter. What can a person say? I mean, this is misrepresenting this deen. It's creating more hatred in the hearts of Muslims towards God and His faith. Allah doesn't swear in the Quran. Coming back to, I'm not saying swearing generally is haram. I'm not saying that generally. One is not at people, but using words. But it doesn't, God doesn't do it. Okay? That's just stupid.
Is it kufr to say that attribute to God?
You see, I would feel that it is blasphemous. I would feel that it is blasphemous. It is gustakhi. Right, gustakh. Allah ke gustakh hain ye. Allah ke gustakh hain. Right, so the thing is, these people, it's unfortunate what they've done really. They've created like these kind of deep cults who justify anything they say, and other people, they want to, like now, that's actually an insult against God, to say, well, God's swearing. But then they will say other people, like, let's hang them because they've been blasphemous. That's what Khadim Hussain Rizvi is calling for, isn't he? He's calling for executing Asiya Bibi because she's blasphemous against the Prophet, and God is much greater, and here you're attributing nonsense to God. It's utter blasphemy. Gustakhi. Right, so I think these people do really need to reacquaint themselves. I know, I watched that clip where he said, "Humne Nahu ki kitabein padhi hui." And then, no, sorry, "Humne Nav ki kitabein padhi hui." Chalo kuch aur padh lijiyega. He said, I've read the books of grammar. He's trying to tell people that I'm learning, like I know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts on that. What else?